you doing today, brother?
I'm great, man. How are you?
I'm doing
I mean,
awesome.
I'm in a house full of, I don't want to use the word sick and have everyone get all crazy, but man, I got a bunch of sniveling noses in this house and everybody's just all meh. And with it being so cold outside, we got the fireplace on, the Christmas tree lit, and they're just watching TV. So it's kind of like a
That
sweet.
sounds like my kind of a ideal situation, though. With the lights turned down low, the Christmas tree, the fireplace. That's my happy place. And there's a lot of people that are like, I don't know. I want to be at that spot. And when did we get so hypersensitive on saying we have a cold? At what point?
I know, man. I feel like you can't say you have a cold anymore with people freaking out, man.
I mean, at what point do we get so hypersensitive on that? The other day I was sitting and someone sneezed kind of close to me, and I was so proud of this person further up in line who turned around and said, "Bless you." Because now when someone sneezes, everybody instantly jumps.
Run.
And
The door. I mean, my mom doesn't want to come over to drop off the presents to the kids. So she sent her husband, and he dropped them off at the front porch. And I was like, "How you doing, Tony?" I mean, times are different. It's crazy.
It looks like we got Scooby-Doo fan in here saying that the episode was good. I was going to kind of drag this out a minute before we went to talking about that.
Yeah, let's see if we can get some of our help in here.
Well, we know JKO is coming, right?
Scooby-Doo fan, by the way.
JKO's coming in kind of late. He told us he was going to be late. Chris just got his insurance license. I don't know if you know that, not too long ago. Mr. Techbot, most people. So he just got his insurance license, and he's been doing that as a side gig. So we kind of knew that his weekends were going to start getting consumed with trying to make money for his family, right? And rightfully so. I mean, that's just what he does.
That's what you do.
I mean, yeah, that's just what you do. Let me see. What did Fabian just say? Saying I was just talking with you guys on everything.
Nice. Welcome to the stream, everybody. So
welcome.
Early Wayne's wife says she disagrees. I hope you're not talking about the episode because I thought it was just like.
I don't know. But what do you think? What do you think of my new blue light? So at some point,
I love your lighting in general, dude. I mean, your lighting's always clean and crisp. I was just looking at some of my recent releases, like videos I've just released, and I'm all whited out, and I'm like. Damn, I didn't even notice that. How come I didn't even notice how bad my lighting is? So no, your lighting's on point as always. I love the blue tent. Looks good.
So I just added this blue tent yesterday, and I thought I would do it when me and Chris went live, because we go live every Friday night. So I added this blue tent, and I like the way it looks on camera. But if you're sitting where I'm sitting, you're like this the whole time. But I like the way it looks. So I'm going to ride with it for a little while and see if I get used to it. Maybe I should put sunglasses on. Maybe that's what it's trying to tell me.
Since we're in the mode of stretch, waiting for our additional help to get here, I do want to mention that last night the family, my two daughters who are 8 and 10, going to be 10 basically, 8 and going to be 10. We watched this Disney Plus release of The Godmother, and it was just freaking awesome, man. If you got little girls, go watch this thing. It just released last night on Disney Plus. Disney Plus. Let me mention something about Disney Plus. When HBO Max, and by the way, I had to sign up for HBO Max, but when HBO Max said that they were going to release Wonder Woman on Christmas Day in 4K Ultra HD for no additional upcharge, but just the price of your subscription, I was like, we call her Mom, me and my wife, Mom. Sign us up. We're done.
Sign us up.
Get that, right? And in the back of my mind, I always thought, well, you know what? Disney at any moment can drop, Black Widow and basically say, oh, you think that's cool? Well, hold my beer. But they didn't have to. They literally have the hottest property going right now. This show, this Mandalorian, and everybody working on it, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you so much. You have brought so much joy to my life. My kids are digging it. The world is talking about it. And it's just brought a huge renewed interest to both the history and lore of Star Wars and the future. The future is so bright with what they're going to be doing. I'm so excited, man. So I just want to say I'm excited.
Not getting overly into the episode and just kind of staying on to the Mandalorian theme. They did something that I I would love to try and do myself is that LED screen. You know, they took and made this massive warehouse with this big round LED screen.
Changing
It's
how people make movies.
constantly changing behind them. It can move with you. Think about if you had one of those behind you, JB. If you had one of those behind you in your videos, you could have it set up to constantly change. You could be bringing up pops. You could be your logo running back there. There's so much stuff that you could have going on behind you that is just insane. And I think they took that from Vegas. You know, when you go to Vegas and you see all of those LED signs that are forever changing, I think that they said, oh, we could do that on a big screen, and it worked. And it worked really well.
It really did.
Really
and
well.
I mean, I hear there's a little knock, and since we're not talking specifically about this episode, but the episodes in general, I'm hearing the little rumblings of every episode's kind of like a video game. Yeah, because that's the world we live in. Look at the popularity of the video game industry and the shoot 'em up and they are tailoring this to as many genres as they can, and they're hitting the nail on the head almost on every single one of them. And the haters are gonna hate.
Oh yeah. Well, the genre I like the most is the Wild West. I think y'all all know that. I mean, with that whole Wild West theme they have going on with him, where he's just gonna come in and shoot them up and blast it out. To me, it's just really cool, really cool. And the simpleness they put in their sound design. And I'm saying simple in a very like it's really not simple, but if you listen to it, it's a very simplistic music that they put in there with it. But they really knew what they were doing, and they put it all together really well. We were just talking before we went live about the director of this episode. Do you know Rodriguez at all? Do you know anything that he's done? I mean,
I don't, and that's what I hadn't looked it up, but that's what you said you had looked up for this particular episode.
Well, it says that he's Dusk Till Dawn.
I have no idea, but it had the feel. You know, there was those shoot 'em up feel to this, like a video game that happens just like almost every single episode. But I think what this director did in this episode, he didn't. Whether that was story driven or director driven, you know, because I think director has a lot to do with what he reveals in the scene as far as what he's showing on camera and not showing you on camera. With Grogu doing what he was doing on the temple, we don't know what conversation was happening there. I can't wait to see how he did this. I think that particular scene, that fight scene in the defense of him, and that basically goes through almost the entire episode. This episode is almost one of the most action-packed episodes that I can remember, even with, you know, every episode having some sort of battle or some gate battle or something. This one, almost because of the brutality of Boba. I mean, we're talking brutality of Boba.
Yeah.
My wife leaves, she goes, "Are you sure the kids should see this one?" And I was like on the fence because he takes it a little bit to the extreme during his fights, and we'll get to that when we break down the episode. So back to the director part of it, having that script in your hand and having to be the one that tells this tale of the now older, wiser Boba and how this story is going to break down. I think he did a fantastic job. Maybe one of the best directed episodes I've seen. I didn't see any errors, any funky weirdness. I didn't see any, just really bad directing in any way in this particular episode. What's your opinion?
I don't really know how I feel about this episode. I was going to kind of wait for everybody to come on because this wasn't one of my favorite ones.
Ooh,
I mean, it wasn't. I think we went from like my favorite to like my least favorite all within like a couple of weeks. And it's, you know,
I love this hot take.
It might have. Look, it really might have. I mean, it might have like, it might have thrown itself
Andy
right
Robertson,
in there.
It felt like a cartoon with the rock rolling down the hill. I have to agree with that. You know, I was thinking a little Wile E. Coyote action right there.
No, I'm going to tell you what I got out of that. I got out of that Temple of Doom with Indiana
That's
Jones.
what it was. That's what I was thinking. That's the first thing
Temple
I
of
was thinking was
Doom.
Indiana
Yep.
Jones and the Temple of Doom,
Indiana
which is a
Jones.
little homage to a movie that I love.
Yes.
You
I
know,
mean,
come
those
on. One of
are
my
classics.
all-time favorites are all the Indiana Jones, but the first one was just, man.
Those are classics, though. I mean, absolutely classics when it comes right down to it.
So I guess we're gonna have to break into this if it doesn't
Yeah,
look like
I
the
think we're
hell
gonna have to break into it anyways. So,
you want to hit the
well,
chat real quick? You got
yeah,
Fabian's Funko
yeah.
Pops is out
Well,
there. And
I got
Andy.
Fabian.
Jose goes pop hunting. How you doing?
Let's
Thanks
see.
for
We had the Scooby Doo fan that was in here. Which did when you were a kid, did you really get into Scooby Doo? Scooby Doo was my favorite cartoon as a kid.
I never missed a Scooby Doo
That's
episode.
my favorite cartoon. Favorite cartoon.
Never missed a cartoon of Scooby Doo ever. As a matter of fact, this is such a like a. You guys know I collect comic books. I'm a big comic book guy, right? And when I refound my personal collection, which everyone's personal collection as a kid, you're pretty proud of. Well, there wasn't a lot of stuff worth a lot of money in there. I mean, most of it was pretty much worthless. But come to find out, one of the most valuable books I owned, Scooby-Doo.
Scooby-Doo.
Scooby-Doo run
Scooby-Doo.
is a crazy popular run from the early 70s, I believe. Maybe it was late 60s. I don't know when it was, but I had them and I thumbed through the hell out of them. And those are probably some of my most valuable comic books. Are freaking Scooby-Doo.
I can only imagine. I mean, a lot of that stuff went up in value. I think that one of the things that surprised me the most that went up in value was those chipmunks. What were they called? The Alvin and the Chipmunks. Did I say that right? With Alvin, Simon, Theodore.
Yeah,
that stuff skyrocketed in value from when we were a kid till now. Most surprising stuff out there. So I see that my wife's in here with us. Fabian Funko says if we need him to come hang out, he is game. Fabian, I might shoot you the link here in a second. We have Andy Roberts, and felt like it was a cartoon. It was really. I think it was. I think that was playing homage to the whole like Indiana Jones, where the Rock was. I think that that's what was going on at that moment, but I'm not 100% sure.
All right, let's jump into it. We're in chapter 14. I don't know what it was titled. I didn't even write it down. I didn't even write down what the title.
I didn't write it down either.
Now, excuse me.
Go ahead.
Remember when we talked about, and anyone who's been following us on this series, don't skip the recap, right? It's always very important, that recap. But I actually think there was a scene prior to the recap even starting, because in the last one, we had made mention that there was this battle between Ahsoka and that lady, and we heard the thing drop, but we never saw that lady again. We never saw her again, right? Do you agree with me? After that battle, there was nowhere in that episode that we ever saw her again. This particular episode opens with that lady laying on the ground, shackled, and then immediately cuts to recap stuff, which is all stuff we've seen before. But just for that split second, I saw that, I was like, that's weird. That's odd. Laying there shackled with these things. Okay. Those same shackles we see later on in this episode, by the way. I mean, not those exact same shackles, but the same type of shackles.
Same type of shackles.
Do you remember this part?
Which part?
That I just mentioned, that the very first scene is that counselor lady. What was her name, man? See,
is that from the one that you assumed that she got killed there in the last episode?
We weren't assuming. I mean,
well, that's kind of what they were. I didn't either.
Got killed. Yeah, right. You heard her spear drop. Right. We never saw her again. You know, so we kind of just assumed, made some assumptions. But this episode, please, if I'm wrong, somebody in the chat tell me if I'm wrong. I do believe it absolutely opens with her laying down shackled. Kind of told everybody Ahsoka didn't kill her. Kind of like,
yeah, we kind of all knew that.
Complaining about that. All right, she didn't get killed. She was shackled. Okay.
But we kind of knew that as a group because they never showed, right? They left it to your imagination.
Yeah. And maybe there was, who knows? Maybe there was some backlash. Oh, they kill her. No, they didn't kill her. She's alive. Then they go through their, the regular build up, the recap, which was great because you got to see, all these scenes, the dark, what they call them, the dark troopers all lined up there, right? And then you get into the opening, and this thing opens with Grogu in dinner arriving on Tython. And it seems pretty easy. I mean, considering that all the stuff that you go through each episode to get to what you got to get to, for them to open up and be like, nobody chasing us. It's right there. Hey, it's right there. Cool. We're here. You know.
I think that was the first clue, though, that it was not going to go that easy.
Well, he's playing with Grogu and he's doing the little test thing with the ball, right?
Yep.
And he's excited and he uses the curse word again, which I can't remember. JKL would throw me down with what's the Mandalorian little curse word when the kid takes it from him and it's like a God, whatever he says, and the kid takes it from him. He's excited about it, and he mentions, he goes, "Aren't you excited to continue your training?" And I don't think the expression on Grogu's face is like, yeah, I'm excited about that. He's like,
No.
Nah, not really.
No.
No, not really.
Well, I think that he's kind of found his father, at least until the Mandalorian passes away, right? Because we know that he's going to pass away well before Grogu, right? I mean, so we all know that that's inevitable.
Maybe.
Well, I mean, it has to be inevitable because it's just the age of Grogu now is 55, and he's still in the toddler phase.
Yeah.
I mean, so we know that even if he doesn't get killed by someone, he's not going to outlive the child.
True.
I mean, so it theoretically, right? Theoretically,
yeah, he ain't gonna outlive the kid.
Right.
Yeah, the kid's gonna totally outlive him. Okay, so where are we at? So he's like, I can't land up on it. It's clear that this is the temple. I mean, huge rock formation, and it's at the top of this mountain. He's like, we're gonna have to. I can't land up there. And I'm thinking to myself, is he gonna carry him? Hell no! He just with the jetpack, which is one of the coolest. Now, I got a question for you, and you must be honest. And anybody who's in the chat, be honest with yourself. Honestly, when you were a kid and you had these action figures, you flew the hell out of Boba Fett everywhere. I did, because he was the only one who could do it. I mean, that's why you wanted to pick him on your team when you were splitting up the action figures. You know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about when you're a kid splitting up the action figures.
Right.
More time splitting up the action figures than you actually did playing. It took longer to split the action figures up for the game than it did to actually play the game. And I always picked Boba because he could fly. Anyway, so he lands, grabs Grogu, and just straight up shoots up to the top. Kind of cool. I dug it. And hey, I guess this is the place. I'm going to sit you down.
Hold that thought. We got Fabian in here. I'm going to add him real quick. Right. Fabian, how are you doing, brother?
Hey, guys. I'm doing good. I got my cord with me.
What are you doing, man?
Look good. He's going to join us.
Yeah, that's cute. That's cute. So, Fabian, tell me, you know where we're at, and you're ready to get in on this story.
Yes.
You're down. All right.
So and did you your questions about the toys, the action figures? Yes, I did fly them.
Definitely. I gotta fly them. Everyone's gotta fly them. So when he said, "Let's put we're gonna do the rest of the way with the windows down," did it dawn on you that they don't have any cars? Because I for that split second I thought, well, they don't have cars. So where did he get the reference? We're gonna go the rest of the way with the windows down.
Yeah, that was good. I didn't even think about that. There's another Easter. You know what? I mentioned on JKL's list of Easter eggs. It's probably something that was said in, a George Lucas directed film. What was his first one? The 50s film with the kids. Probably a line right out of that movie. All right, I'm sorry. Where were we?
They was flying
okay,
Grogu.
So they land. He puts them on the stone. He's like, maybe there's a button to turn the damn thing on. He's looking around for the buttons to turn, and here comes. Hey, wait a minute! I recognize that ship. That looks like Boba Fett's old ship. That's Boba Fett's old ship, and that thing lands, and he sees it land. Hey, kid, you may want to hurry up. Now, once you started seeing the butterflies floating around, I think you kind of knew, hey, something about to happen.
Right?
So what do you guys think of that next scene when it just fires off, man?
It's crazy.
Look, I don't really think I knew what to expect at that point, and I definitely didn't think that they were going to have that assassin from the episodes much preview with Boba Fett to come out with Boba Fett. So there was a lot of that happened right there in a few minutes. And we were talking about the director. I think the director did an okay job. I don't think he did the best job. I think he did an okay job.
Okay.
It was just okay. I would have liked to have seen some slightly different like camera angles. I would have liked to have seen like from the ground angle on a few of them that we didn't get. There was just some different angles I would have liked to see him cover. But you said it right from the beginning. Sometimes the story drives that, so we don't know how much of it was story driven versus how many of it was director driven.
You got to think every director goes into an episode now thinking, okay, I got to have a action fight sequence that looks like a video game. How do I make sure that I get that to fit in the story? Because it's got to fit in the story because it's in every single freaking episode.
Right.
And this is about to be where it happens as Boba's, flies in and lands Drogu's in meditation. And Boba and what's her name? I didn't write her name down. Whatever this other lady is, they come out. Now the stormtroopers also arrive. A fleet of stormtroopers also arrive, and we get to see some fighting going down, right?
All right, so let me ask you a question. Is that Boba Fett or is that a clone of Boba Fett?
No, that's Boba Fett. He said exactly what he said. Now, are you referencing to when he put that thing up and said, "This is my line"?
Yes.
Yeah, no, no. I think his dad was right there at the beginning, where he fought in the Mandalore Wars and was given that armor, which was the explanation as to why. That had never been explained anywhere that I know of. But where's JKL? Because he probably blew my mind with some reference to some comic book or story that said, "Oh yeah, we knew that." I didn't know that. We knew that. Guys, until this show, Mandalorian people took the helmets off all the freaking time. Until this show, until last season, that was never a thing before. So it was never even into question whether Boba Fett was a Mandalore, because he always had the armor when you were a kid. It was never brought into question until this show comes out and goes, well, they don't take their helmets off, so what is he? There he is!
What's up, peeps? I made it. I'm here.
Hey, what's going on?
Tell me.
Where are we? What are we talking about?
So Boba Fett just landed. What was the girl's name, that other bounty hunter that came out with him?
Her name is
Fennec Shan.
Oh, wait, right?
Yeah, Ming-Na Wen is her real name, but in the show it's Fennec Shan.
Fennec Shan. So Fennec, and she's a bad woman.
She's the assassin, right?
She's a bad woman with that gun.
A sniper.
Right. And she starts doing her thing, and here's our video game segment of the show as the stormtroopers are coming in waves, and she is just taking him down just straight out of a video game. But Boba is coming with. At one point, I thought he was going to straight up give the. Right? Didn't you think that was going to happen at some point?
Look, when he put that armor on, he came in like he was pissed off at the world.
He was happy. Man. He got his armor back. He had to show how much of a badass he really was. Because one of the things with Boba is, he didn't really do anything in the movies. If you watch the movies, he didn't do anything. But he was always known as the baddest bounty hunter in the galaxy. And that was one of the things that the fans kind of was like, okay, well, he's supposed to be this badass, but he never did anything. Even in the cartoons, he was a kid, so you really didn't get him to see him do anything badass. So this was kind of like his redemption. Like, okay, now y'all want it, here you go, Boba Fett, best in the galaxy, even as an old man.
Well, I want to get your guys' opinion on his brutality. I mean, and for the show. I mean, for a Disney show,
it was.
I mean,
borderline.
That was freaking pretty brutal for a Disney show. For him to just be sticking fools and busting them up the head, and I mean, it was brutal.
Yeah.
Well, if you watch some of the Star Wars stuff that's been out since Disney bought them, some of it is just as brutal. But the thing is, the way they get around it is you don't show blood. You didn't see any blood.
Oh,
You know, I mean,
see
you
that.
gotta think about it. You have a show where people are blasting each other all the time and getting shot. That's not something kids should be seeing, but they still do it. But there's never any blood. So you're probably not going to see a lot of blood.
Because some of the cracks upside the head should have been
Yeah.
bloody mess.
Yeah. Yo, he went to town. He was taking them out.
Things were insane.
Out. So I'm kind of lost and out of turn with where we're at and when you know.
I think we're
he's
right
like, I'm
before
gonna
the
try and buy
Indiana.
you time. He can't get through the shield. Din Djarin goes to grab him,
Right.
and he gets shot back. And he's like, "What the hell just happened?" And he goes, "I'm going to try and buy you some time." You know, they have this interaction. Now, there had to be some really important story points here, JKL, that you can make sure that we don't miss here. When they talk, and he says, "You know, I've been tracking you. You have my father's armor." Give me the whole details on that story, because I bet you have it better than I got it.
Well, as far the one thing I was kind of didn't understand is, like, he said he was tracking him, and I'm like, how was he tracking him? Because he doesn't have a tracking device on the ship. But then I'm like, all right, maybe he has a tracking device in his armor.
That's exactly what I said. He's got to have a tracking device in his own armor.
And another thing that kind of bothered me was, okay, you were after your armor, but why didn't you get it when you were on Tatooine? Like, it would have been much easier to take it from Cobb Vanth than it would have been to take it from the Mando.
Week.
So I'm like, what was the holdup? So I'm wondering if there's more of a story there, or maybe just plot reasons they wanted to do it this way. Because there were a couple of plot conveniences in this episode. I was like, okay.
Plot conveniences.
Okay.
Did we miss one earlier? Because I think we may have missed one even earlier to that point.
Well, I don't know. I don't know where you guys are, but
no, we're just to the point where they've met now. You know, at the bottom of the hill. You know, Yoda, Grogu's still doing his thing. They haven't released the Death Troopers yet.
Okay, well, one of the plot conveniences right here. Hey, what's up, Techbot? One of the plot conveniences is,
what's up, guys?
Boba Fett telling the Mando to take off his jetpack, which I understand from a fighter standpoint, especially Boba knowing what Mandalorian can do with a jetpack. It kind of makes sense. But remember, Grogu's at the top of the hill. What would have been the fastest way for Mando to get up there to save him would have been the jetpack. So having him take it off earlier in the episode means, okay, now he can't just fly up there. So that gives the Empire a chance to grab him. So I'm like, that was too much of a plot convenience. Like, come on.
Did anyone think that Death Troopers were
when you
badass?
first took it off, you knew that was going to come back and haunt him.
Yeah, I kind of figured, okay, he's taking off the jetpack. Something's going to happen where he's going to need it and not have it. So,
Chris, what did you say?
Did anyone else think that those Dark Troopers were actually badass?
Those things
yes,
were
they
awesome.
were. They were like Iron Man. And remember, Jon Favreau, he directed the first Iron Man movie. So they were like dark Iron Man robots. That was
right.
cool.
We were talking about the director right as we first came on, and it was, who was it again, JB?
Robert Rodriguez.
Oh, he's the director?
Yeah.
So
he directed
Dusk Till Dawn.
Dusk Till Dawn with George Clooney and Quentin Tarantino, which is
I
awesome.
thought Tarantino directed that. Okay.
I thought Quentin Tarantino directed
No, Quentin
it.
Tarantino wrote that.
Yeah, he wrote it.
Okay.
He directed the El Mariachi trilogy with Antonio Banderas. He did El Mariachi.
That action. He's about that
but he also directed Spy Kids and Spy Kids 2. So
Disney. They had him in
Did you guys see who wrote next week's?
No, I didn't see it.
Oh, Rick Famuyiwa. This guy's actually pretty awesome. He's directed some pretty good controversial movies before.
Like what? Give me an example.
Yeah.
Well, you got, of course, the Flash. He was a director of some of the Flash TV shows. Okay. He's done the Confirmation. It was an HBO original. There's another one that he did was he was a Sundance Film Festival. He won Best Editing for Dope.
Okay.
All right.
Our Family Wedding with Forrest Whitaker.
I want to watch one of his things before this, so that I can
so you can see
get a chance to see what kind of style.
All right, so as The Rock was coming down the hill, did that remind any of y'all of Indiana Jones? Because that
Raiders of the Lost Ark. Yeah.
it strongly reminded me of Indiana Jones.
And
now
remember,
that JKL is here, what was the movie that George Lucas made? The '50s movie.
American
Graffiti.
Graffiti.
Oh,
yeah,
Is there anywhere in the American Graffiti where there's a line? Because what did Din say? We're gonna have to go in with the windows.
The windows down.
With the
He said we're
windows
gonna have to go the rest of the way with the windows down.
I actually don't know. I haven't seen American Graffiti in
Okay,
years.
because that
so I don't
reference
know.
makes no sense in
Nope.
space.
You gotta, yeah, you got to think it's a reference to something.
Gotta be a reference to American Graffiti.
I figured it was a reference to something, but I just didn't know what it was because, like you said, it was such an out there line. It was kind of like,
What
okay,
the
that's
hell is
gotta be
that?
her. Yeah.
Hey, I don't know if you guys touched upon it, but the only thing, like, I thought it was a great episode. But was there anybody else really sad to see the Razor Crest get blown up?
Everybody.
Yes.
Oh man, when
Yeah,
that
what do you
happened.
mean?
Oh.
So,
I
do
couldn't
you want to hear
believe
you want to hear the theory on this? Do you want to hear the theory on the Razor Crest thing?
Yes,
Oh my goodness,
man.
Wayne! I thought I did. So, for anybody that doesn't know, when you're in the mode of consume all Star Wars, like I've been, I mean, literally consume all content that you can get your hands on. You're gonna find out that a Lego set had to be redone to remove the word Razor Crest from the cover of the box
Oh,
because a company beat Disney to
Does it
trademark
copyright?
the word Razor
Oh,
Crest.
wow.
And Disney said, okay, so they had Lego change the box, and now Disney just straight up said,
blew it up.
"Oh, yeah, really? Check this out. Hold my beer.
Yo,
I'm
gonna tell you right now, that is
Go
such
get
a
a new
boss-
one.
Yo, that's such a boss move right there.
How much you want to bet they have another copyright for his next ship already?
Exactly. That's a boss move. And I've done things like that. Like when somebody try to hold something over me, I'm like, yo, really? Okay, fine.
Really? Uh-huh.
Screw that. And we go,
It's gone.
let's do it. What? So
It was funny because I was watching this because of the Lego collectability thing, and you know what? Does that mean that first issue where it said Razor Crest?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
was
absolutely.
yeah.
unopened box because they had to reissue it, and guess what?
Oh yeah.
Nobody gives a shit about that thing. It's gonna be worth
I can tell you right now, it's going to be a collectible though.
Oh
You
yeah.
think
That's gonna be
collectible?
big. Yeah.
It was out. Oh man,
It's going to be a collectible because
Big. Yes.
they had a Star Wars figure for Rogue One, and the main character, her name escapes me right now, but on the box it had her as like a lieutenant or something, and then they reissued it without the lieutenant or whatever, and the one that said lieutenant, it skyrocketed in price.
crazy.
Yeah, either lieutenant, sergeant, something like that. But yeah,
All I know is I've been calling it since the first episode of this season. We're going to see Boba. And we saw Boba in a big way. I was so happy when he put his armor on. And he showed up and just started owning.
Oh, so before you came on, Chris, JB brought up the conversation of Boba. What do you think about his brutality? Do you think it went too far?
No. Well, I think to me, in my perspective of that,
Just throwing that out there.
you've got, of course, I mean, what Boba is still a clone of Jango. But and to me, I always, maybe not everyone felt the same way, but I always felt that the clones had a little bit more brutality to them than Jango did have. So Boba kind of has both worlds of the what Jango actually taught him and what he still is ingrained in him being a clone.
right. Yeah.
So he says Jenga is his dad. I didn't know that. I just look when he said that, it was like mind blown. I was like, "Oh, are you joking?" Mind blown. Going to the.
I did not know how he got his armor. So now JKL, and I mentioned that earlier. I did not know how he had acquired his armor. And agree with me or disagree with me, everybody on the panel, until the show Mandalorian came out, it was okay for you to take your helmet off. Right? I mean, nobody ever said you couldn't take your helmet off before. It never came up.
It was a Mandalorian thing back in the day. Like I said, they've gone through different phases of what it means to be a Mandalorian, but that's one of the old ways. Was like,
But
you never
even
took
through
your helmet.
the cartoons, we had never
But through the
seen-
cartoons, right? They would take the
They
helmets off.
never
all the
mentioned it
time.
because even the earliest ones who were taking the kids, they took their helmets off.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
so That never happened until this.
Well,
Yeah, that's why.
to me, it was almost like they created another old school race of Mandalorian with this series that we just had never heard about before.
Well, that's what Bo-Katan was talking about when he was calling him a zealot, because they kind of like strict with the old ways. That's how last time I described it, kind of like
Strict with the old
a
ways.
religious zealot who really goes old school religion versus modern religion. That's kind of what his sect of Mandalorians are. They're like old school. He was brought up in the old ways of, you don't take off your helmet. So
JKL, had it ever been disclosed how Boba had gotten the armor?
it was Django's armor.
No. I mean Jango. How Jango had ever acquired the armor? Had it ever been disclosed in any comic books or anything that Jango Fett was not a true Mandalorian? That he was.
Well, he was. Disney
read
bought
it
Star
before.
Wars, so as far as the new canon, it wasn't really known. But the
It was
old
never
stuff,
released.
the old stuff, he was a Mandalorian. He was raised with the Mandalorians.
He was
And
raised.
he was actually the leader of the Mandalorians at one point, which is one of the Easter eggs they dropped in here when he said his father fought in the Mandalorian Civil Wars. When Django fought in the Civil Wars, he ended up getting the Darksaber, and he led the true Mandalorian.
Yeah, that was going to be my next question, because I said if you said he led the Mandalorian, that would have meant he had the black saber, because you told me that one before.
Yeah.
There you go. Once the show, you gotta have it, man. You're gonna just get blow the head up right there.
But I would say that when they showed that black saber, when Moff Gideon showed that black saber to Grogu, that was that saber's awesome.
Yeah, it is. It definitely is.
Crazy.
So does this mean that Boba's not a Mandalorian?
Not in the technical sense, no. Because he was raised by Django, who kind of raised him with a lot of the Mandalorian teachings, but he's not like officially Mandalorian. He's not like a foundling. He wasn't like raised on Mandalore, none of that stuff. So
yeah, but technically, the Mandalorian we're following wasn't that either.
Yeah, but he's a foundling, so he was raised by them. So I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, I say he's a Mandalorian, but I don't know.
He didn't.
Right.
But he did not.
Yeah,
he made it very clear that this is my armor, but I'm not a Mandalorian.
Right. And he even said it himself, like he follows his own rules. Like he doesn't follow any type of doctrine. So yeah.
I really want to hear everyone's guesses what's gonna happen next, but let's kind of wrap this particular episode up, because another troop lands, more troopers come in. He's telling the kid, hurry up. He leaves. The kid finally finishes, but Moff Gideon has basically released these dark troopers.
Dark troopers were so cool.
Awesome, dude.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Those were awesome. And Fabian, what did you think about when you saw the dark troopers the first time and could come flying out the sky?
My head blew up. It was insane. The detail on them was amazing. They were incredible.
That's awesome, right?
Although here's a question, being a trooper, because we all know that troopers have the worst aim in the world. Being that they're a robot, will they actually have good aim?
Oh, the best in the galaxy. They should anyway. I mean,
so they swoop them up and go, and at that point you're like, did this just happen?
Yes.
Did they get away with him? And not only did they get away with him, and then they blow up the Razor Crest, and you're like, this is just unbelievable. I can't believe this. Right? So the next thing I believe is Moff. No, Moff opens up the doors. I took pictures of this. And Baby Yoda is just messing fools up.
Yeah.
Yes. He done went Darth Vader on him. He's
choking on both of them.
Yeah, he's just laying havoc on these kids. But then he gets really tired, and Gideon knew that, and he said,
But there was something to that scene, though. If you notice, because what made me reminded is, remember when Ahsoka said before that he has a point in him of fear.
Yeah.
And when he did the double chokehold, I automatically started to think, wait, is that fear coming to him? Is it like that we're worrying about that because of the Vader situation?
Yeah.
Right.
So is he using that fear? Because that fear is not good for a Jedi.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I think he was trying to let him
honestly,
kill him. To be honest,
I don't know if he killed because they don't show it, obviously, but if they want to show brutality, he could have just snapped both their necks. They would have shown the crack to the side
true.
and been slumped down. And then you see a whole different. You're thinking, well, he's done turning. He's done. If he could murder fools, that he's done turning, but he didn't. So I don't know, man. Gideon then shows him the saber. That was interesting. I don't know why he wanted to show him the saber. It was a cool scene for us and all, but I don't know if that meant anything to Grogu.
I think. Well, first, Grogu recognized the dark saber because you saw how he looked at it. He either recognized it as a lightsaber or he knows that is the specific dark saber. Remember, he was at the temple, so he probably learned this stuff. But something that Moff Gideon said when Grogu reached for it, he was like, no, because you might put your eye out. Foreshadowing. Somebody's losing an eye.
I didn't catch that part, but that's a good. That's a good.
I did say that foreshadow.
Yeah.
So now I wonder. Let's check the Legends characters that have been introduced.
Who's got an eye patch?
Which one of them has got an eye patch?
Yeah, but the other question I had that I noticed with Moff Gideon, why does Moff Gideon wear the Vader looking front end?
I don't know.
Okay,
I think
that's explained a little bit. I'll give you a little bit of explanation, a little something I'm thinking. Because that's been a common question coming up, and what I noticed, what was that lady that showed up, the bounty hunter? What was her name?
Fennec Shan.
Fennec Shan shows up, and she says that she is in debt to Boba Fett, and she pulled, and you can't tell based on what she's wearing, but she pulls back this one little section, and it's robotic under there.
Mm-hmm.
Her gut is it. She reveals that there's a little, and it's very little, and then she covers it back up.
Yeah, because somebody explained that part to me. I was fuzzy with that.
That Gideon has probably also got a robotic core or some robotic part of his anatomy that this thing functions.
Yeah.
Well, she said that Boba saved her, so I'm assuming that he put the robotics in her so that she wouldn't die. Right, and that's what she meant by Boba saved me, and that's why she's in debt to him.
Yeah,
is where I think that came from, right? Am I right on that one?
Yeah, you're right on that.
So are you thinking Gideon has one too?
Possibly.
No, I'm just thinking that he's wearing something that's controlling something. What is it?
Right.
I bet you he's got some sort of issue mechanically. He's not all whole either.
Possibly.
Well, most likely not. I mean, look, I still thought Boba was a clone the whole time I was watching it. I was wondering why he was making references to his dad if he was a clone. So I'm glad that y'all
they did the Clone Wars. They gave him a child. That was part of the deal.
Yeah.
Right. He is technically a clone of Jango Fett, but he wasn't altered. So Jango raised him as his son. So that's why
all the other clones were accelerated age to basically be an adult. Jango was Boba was never accelerated.
Right. See, look. Let's see. Another one of those mind-blowing moments.
Well, you see that back in episode 2 when Obi-Wan went up to the facility and you saw young Boba up in episode, and then now I'm talking about the movie episode 2. You go back and watch it, you can see young Boba there, and that's when I first started asking questions. I'm like, is he a clone or what? And a friend of mine was telling me, yeah, he's a clone, but he's an unaltered clone.
Right.
unaltered.
So Jango raised him as his son. Yeah. So
is the Mandalorian now getting together a mob of people to go after the child?
Yes.
Yeah. Are we gonna see the 3 Mandos from episode 3 again? You think?
Probably. I don't know if he's gonna get them because I don't think he knows where they are. It's just like he doesn't know where Ahsoka is. He knows where she was. There's no guarantee she's still there because she was looking for Grand Admiral Thrawn. So she went there. She got the information. She's probably gone.
There we go.
So the other Mandos, they're probably somewhere. But remember, they're looking for Gideon. So chances are they're going to meet up somewhere.
Yeah, I was just going to say, she's looking for Gideon because she knows Gideon has a Darksaber.
Right.
Yeah. But technically, Jim Jarn doesn't know who took him. All he knows is that these black troopers came out of the sky and took him.
Yeah, he knows it's the Empire.
That's Gideon on there.
Right.
Now, there was a line in there that as maybe JB and JK can. They said that the Empire is back. I thought they already knew the Empire was back.
Well, I don't know if
she said the Outer Rim though. So
right, and I don't know if it was technically established that the Empire was still around, because as far as the Outer Rim knows, the Empire is gone. The New Republic is taken over. But remember, the Outer Rim is kind of like the Old West. It's like it's very rarely regulated by whoever's in power because it's spread too thin. You spread your forces too thin, you can't really control the Outer Rim, which is why the Republic soldier gave Cara Dune the badge to make her a marshal for the Republic on that planet. So the Republic's trying to like say, okay, we're out here now. But yeah, I don't know if they really knew the Empire was around.
He goes to recruit he goes to kind of get a posse together, and he starts with her.
Yeah.
You know, he's already got.
Yeah, but that's gonna be bad. That's gonna be bad if he breaks that guy out, because they didn't end on the best of terms.
Right. But I'm figuring if he breaks him out.
Understand why that guy? And we haven't talked to the chat about what. But at the end of the episode, is he goes back to that planet to go recruit some help. He goes to Kara and he says, "I need your help. I need to find this guy who should be locked up." And he was. She's, "Oh yeah, here he is. He's locked up, and I need to break him out because he's going to help me find this ship."
And she's like, "Nope."
How is that guy going to help? I don't understand that.
Yeah.
Underworld connections.
but I also thought it was cool. She's like, "Yeah, I got to break him out." No, I got to follow rules now.
Yep. She's like, "I work for the Republic now."
Well,
sorry.
Once he said it was the child, her whole like demeanor kind of changed. So I think she's going to end up working with him.
Another thing that bothered me, like, remember the first time he went to the planet and Grief and Kara met him and they were all like, "Oh, the baby," and now he just waltzes in without the baby.
Nobody asked questions.
Right. Remember, wherever he goes, the child goes. It's like, okay, where's the kid? Like, that would have been my first question. Where's the kid? Like, what the hell happened? So.
All right, JKL, what's the Easter eggs? We know you have them. What are they?
Oh, there was a good amount. Okay. I'm going to be all out of order because I was just writing stuff down. Okay. There's a repulsor blast when Boba Fett was fighting the stormtroopers. Like, one of the shots he shot, it sounded just like Iron Man's repulsor blast. I don't know if you guys caught that. I was like, "Get out of here!"
I gotta go check that.
When Boba Fett says, "I'm a simple man trying to make my way in the galaxy," that's the same thing Jango said to Obi-Wan in Attack of the Clones.
Oh shit! I would have never figured that one out.
Yeah.
Jango was a foundling, and he mentioned the Mando Civil War, which I've talked to you guys about already. The stormtroopers with the orange patch on the shoulder, first seen in A New Hope. That was cool that they came back. Let me see.
Oh shit! Yeah.
Boba had the gaffy stick. That's just the one that the Tusken Raiders.
Dude, he was owning.
He knew how to use it.
Owning fools with that thing.
Yeah. Like I said, I really thought we were going to get him with that.
Yeah. So he was probably hiding out with the Tusken Raiders.
Well, remember when we first seen him, he was in that sand scene,
right,
where the Tusken Raiders were. So I would assume he had to have been hiding out with them.
Right. The stormtrooper with the mortar. They had dropped the action figure of him, and when I was in the store, I'm like, I never saw this mortar stormtrooper, but now we see the mortar stormtrooper. There you go.
Gotcha.
Let me see.
Yeah, because there's never been a mortar stormtrooper, has there?
No, there hasn't. When Moff Gideon goes to Grogu, I kind of think he knows who Grogu is, because he says he's gotten better at that. After he finished using the Force, and
do you think he made
himself out? So he said, "You've gotten better at that." So I kind of think he probably knows him from somewhere.
I think that could be connected with the temple there.
I don't know, but I was like, for him to say that kind of leads me to believe that they've been around each other before. Maybe Moff Gideon's probably connected with the temple somehow. Let me see. Cara Dune is the Marshal. We said that. Remember was it the last episode or the episode before when the doctor was talking about the volunteer saying that the process might hurt the volunteer. I'm wondering if Grand Admiral Thrawn was the volunteer. Maybe they're trying to give him some type of force power. That would have been cool. The stun beam that they used on Grogu was the same one from A New Hope. We should all know that when they shot Princess Leia.
Mm-hmm.
When Grogu uses the Force, we all know that he gets tired and typically falls asleep, but that's not really specific to him, because if you watch all the Yoda's scenes when he uses the Force, he does the same thing. He doesn't fall asleep, but you can see he's physically worn out.
Yeah, it takes it out of him.
It's like even in the earlier movies when he was younger, you could see after he uses the Force, it kind of tires him out. So I don't know if that's just his race.
I'm still saying that Grogu is a clone of Yoda. I'm still saying this.
I still don't think so. But listen, we'll find out eventually. The Rock rolling, of course, the Raiders of the Lost Ark.
That was fantastic. Yeah. I love that.
That was awesome. And also, in case some people didn't know, although Steven Spielberg directed the movie, George Lucas is the person who created Indiana Jones. So
yes.
Let me see. Boba blowing up the transport cruiser and it crashed into the other one. The line where he says, I was aiming for the other one.
Yeah.
That's one of those, you see that in a lot of movies where somebody makes a perfect shot and somebody congratulates them and they're like, well, yeah, I was aiming for this or whatever. So that was just kind of one of those. In the beginning, when he's talking to Grogu and telling him, you have to go with the Jedi and all this stuff, like, that's one of those classic scenes when you're talking out loud to someone, but you're really convincing yourself.
Yeah, he's trying to talk himself into letting him go.
Yeah, so I was like, all right, that was kind of cool. When Boba says fate steps in to rescue the wretched, I think that's part of his story too, why he's still alive. Like, he feels like fate stepped in and saved him. I don't know if they're going to show it. I'm sure they will eventually, but probably not in this season. Let me see. Oh, when he was trying to grab Grogu from the force field, get it?
Oh, you got with that one.
Yeah, the last time he tried to grab him, and he turned around and ran away, and then the field went down like 10 seconds later. That's one of those classic scenes where if you had just waited a little bit longer, you would have been all right. So I was like, come on, why'd they do that? But I get it. I said about somebody puts an eye out. I definitely think that's a reference to somebody getting their eye put out. And also, I don't know if you guys ever saw the meme of when Obi-Wan gave Luke the lightsaber for the first time, and Luke looked directly into it. He would have put his eye out if he had activated it. That's kind of funny. Let me see. And we talked about that. And
I know.
I'm kind of thinking. Say what? Who wears an eye patch?
I don't know.
Gregor Typo.
Gregor Typo.
Here, I'll show an image of him.
I don't know.
That's basically it. We talked about the other stuff.
Yeah.
But I have some Force users that I'm thinking might show up to find Grogu, which a lot of these is kind of like, oh, okay, yeah, he's Amidala's guard from the prequel trilogy. So I don't even know if he's still alive at this point.
Yeah, he should be dead.
Yeah, that's a good point. He might be kind of old.
But then again, Nick Fury wears an eye patch, and he played Windu. He played Mace Windu. Mace comes back with the eye.
Yeah, but Mace Windu is dead, isn't he?
Is he one of the Jedi you think that may have come searching?
Because remember,
Boba Fett called out. So there's now people are like, did you see that? We need to go check that out. So who's coming?
And Mace Windu would be an interesting choice because remember, Mace Windu killed Jango and Boba Fett saw it. So, and he's been trying to kill Mace for a while. Even in the cartoon, he's been trying to kill Mace. So to have him come back and Boba be there, that would be awesome.
There's a whole bunch of websites of people thinking Mace is showing back up.
It could be, and Samuel Jackson's been politicking for that for a while, so that would be cool. But Yaddle, remember, she's not technically dead; she just disappeared, so she could come back. A lot of people are thinking Luke, which I don't think it's going to be Luke. Ezra, I don't think it's going to be Ezra because what's her name? Ahsoka's looking for him. Cal Kestis, that's the Jedi from the video game who's trying to save the younglings when Order 66 went down, so he could show up. There's another Jedi called Quinlan Voss, who he was in the movies, but he was a background character. He didn't really do anything, but they had a book about him. He actually went to the dark side and came back to the light side, so he's one of those rare Jedi that knows both sides of the Force. And as far as I know, he's still alive. And there's a dark Jedi or a Sith called Darth Talon that Darth Maul was training. And in the comics, I think is Legends now, but she was a fan favorite. She was a Twi'lek, red and black. Oh, she looks awesome. But my pick, who I would love to see, and JB, you would know because you saw the books. You held them up last week. Yes. Mara Jade.
Oh, yeah.
That would be awesome.
Would be fantastic.
Because as of right now, remember, those books happened around this time period after
that's
the
supposed
movie.
to be this time period.
And Thrawn was there. Luke was rebuilding the Jedi Temple, which is happening now. So Mara Jade showing up would be awesome.
I'm going to throw one of these takes out there, and I want your opinion. So, some people hated the CGI'd Leia when she, putting her into the scene at the end of Rogue One.
Uh-huh.
Or the young, when they made the characters young. Would you or would you not like to see at some point in the next couple of episodes this season a Luke or a Leia cameo? Young CGI.
Leia, no.
Leia, no. I think you need to end it
for sure.
Yeah.
Wayne's got hot. You got
no. I want to say no.
No.
I was like Leia, no, but technically right now
they're both
alive. They're both alive.
No, but Luke should still be training people technically, but this is before he went into hiding.
Yeah, this is the time when he's around the time when he's rebuilding the Jedi. So he's looking for Force
building his little academy.
And actually, one of the fan picks to play a young Luke Skywalker was Sebastian Stan. He's the guy who played the Winter Soldier in the Captain America movies, because he actually looks a lot like Mark Hamill. Like, people have done face swaps of them, and they look so much alike. Like,
Wayne's not having it. Fabian, would you like to see something like that? Let them reintroduce a younger version of Luke right now and say, hey, guess what? We just did it with Han Solo, which, by the way, you could also do that. I mean, he's alive.
Technically,
and you already have a young version of him who's
and a young Lando Calrissian, because he's still around.
He's around.
Look, I am reading something real quick here that's a very good possibility. Going back to Mace real quick, it's possible that Mace is the one that hid the child.
Yeah, it could be. It could be. I mean, I don't think it happened, but
he's the librarian lady.
It depends on how they write the story, because again, he's not necessarily dead. Because people keep saying, "Oh, he was electrocuted." Did you see?
No, he jumped out the window.
No, the Emperor shocked him and threw him out the window.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, so we don't know if he actually died.
Right, because remember in Return of the Jedi, look how much Luke got shocked. He got shocked a lot more than Mace did, and he just got up and walked it off. So Mace, as a Jedi Master, he could survive that. And remember all those cars flying in the streets? He could have just landed on the car and flew away. Yeah, it's possible. Come on now. And Jedi, like even Sam Jackson said, Jedi can fall from great heights and not be hurt. Like, they have the Force, so he could have easily gotten away and been in hiding all this time. So it just depends on how they write it. I wouldn't mind seeing him come back. I wouldn't mind seeing Mace Windu come back. Yeah, I don't want to see Luke. Like, it's already too much.
Hold on. I'm gonna mute your mic for a second. I'm just kidding. Keep going.
I'm not. Listen, if I ever start talking too much, I don't care. Mute me.
You said you didn't want to see Luke. I was gonna mute your mic.
You're gonna see my lips moving. I'm still gonna be talking. I don't want to see Luke because, listen, we've gotten 9 movies referencing the Skywalkers. It's like every time. I said it last week. Every time Star Wars does something unique and different,
they reference Skywalker in Rogue One.
Right, everything comes back to that. It's like, this is a huge freaking galaxy. Like, it can't be that coincidental that all these characters always end up back to the Skywalkers. Like, no, leave that. I mean, you can make references to it. You can have like crisscrossing, but don't bring them in. Like, they're doing their own thing. That's how I feel.
All I know is if I see that purple lightsaber show up, I'm gonna jump out.
Oh, I might lose it.
What'd you say, JB?
Question from the chat here.
Yeah,
The big
Chase
question
wants
is,
to know who he
who
was
did Grogu
contacting.
contact when he was on the stone?
Yeah,
Yeah, that is another question. What was that beam?
It was a signal to the Jedi, to Force users technically. So
Right.
anybody strong enough in the Force would detect it. And I guess if you have the means, you come look for them. But yeah, that's what that was.
See, I would like to see
Anybody in
all of them
particular?
come after him. I mean, I would like to see all of them at this point go looking for him.
I mean, it would be cool if there were a few Force users, not just one. Like a few of them are actually looking for him, and some of them actually be evil. So it's like, okay, now it's a battle to get Grogu.
How many episodes do we have left?
Two more.
Hey, I'm okay with it because as soon as this is done, WandaVision starts, so I'm good to go.
Yeah, and if you want to do a show, I'm down to do that with you too. Let's do it. 'Cause I could talk Marvel too.
WandaVision show next.
I have a question.
Yes,
So-
go for it.
You guys, I don't think I was there, but did you guys cover in the episode when they blew up that whole Jedi thing? In the little like tube. Did you guys see that was Snoke?
Oh yeah, we saw
Yes,
that one.
that was the last week. Hold on a
Yes.
second, guys.
Do we know or think that they're gonna give like Baby Yoda like some of him to Snoke, and then we're gonna
That was a theory that we had talked about that somewhat of Grogu is in Snoke, and that's what made Snoke as powerful as he was. Or at least that's what I got out of.
because Snoke is, I believe he got cloned. Like he has like 1,000 clones, and that place blew up. But that confused me because if that place blew up, then how are
Yeah,
they?
but on the ship that what's his name is on, they have more clones there.
That's true.
So I mean, am I wrong, JB? That's what I think what we had talked about.
Yeah. Plus, with the clones and Camino, they probably got them all over the place. I mean, if they're not Force sensitive yet, they're making a bunch of them. I don't think we're really getting a Kenobi series, are we? I need a
Yeah, we're getting Kenobi
Yes,
series.
it's going to start shooting next year.
Yeah, Ewan McGregor went on stage and announced it on last year's D23.
Speaking of things shooting, Falcon and Winter Soldier is shooting in downtown Brooklyn, and I was gonna go today, but it's rainy and cold, and
I would have gone out. I would have been out in there in the rain and the cold. I don't care.
That's awesome.
I might go tomorrow or Monday. Hopefully, they're still shooting. I'm gonna try and get some footage.
Oh, I'm jealous now.
Trying to get close.
JK,
See if I can use some of my contacts.
anything going on next week you want to tell us about?
I got my 300 subscriber video. I'm editing now, so
Congratulations.
that's coming out. Thanks,
Man,
guys.
you got the 300 quick.
Yo, listen, I went on the Poppin' Duo. They had a live stream, what was it, 2 nights ago, something like that. And I just went in there, I was chit-chatting with the guys because they do like a box battle. And they went to my page and saw that I was at 292. And they were like, oh, let's get Jake Hale to 300. And like literally 30 seconds, I was like at 320. I was like, yo, thanks, guys. Like I didn't, and all the stuff you guys did for me, I appreciate it. Like I put it on my Instagram. See, I'm getting choked up. Because I keep saying like, I don't do it for the subs, but it's just cool when people just do stuff for you without you asking. It's like, yo, let's just help this brother out. And I appreciate that. I appreciate it from all you guys. Thanks a lot, man.
Right, you're welcome.
And I'm glad as a matter of fact, all 4 of y'all got boxes from me. So I'm glad that you guys got them because I really like I like giving back, man. I like spreading love.
Yes, sir. Fabian, anything going on next week you want to tell us about?
I'm probably gonna get some Pokemon cards soon and go live on Instagram because those things have been trending a little bit. So
They have.
trying to pull those rare cards. But I have a question. Did you guys get any of the Star Wars Clone Wars Funko Pops from GameStop or anything?
Did we get any of the what?
They were like the latest Star Wars Pops that dropped. There were 2 Ahsokas, a Darth Maul.
Oh no,
No.
I pre-ordered those like 2 weeks ago, and we went to GameStop right now, and they still haven't gotten them in. Like they're probably the only GameStop that hasn't gotten them.
Are those the concept ones?
No, they're Clone Wars, I believe.
Yeah, they're the new ones from the last season of Clone Wars.
It's typical of GameStop to take forever, though. It takes them forever to get their pre-orders in. They pre-order them way out in advance. I ordered the 10-inch child last year this time. So it was before I got it right at the beginning of summer. I mean, so if that, I mean, it sometimes it takes GameStop forever to get things. JB, anything going on next week you want to tell us about?
I'm excited for that one you just showed.
Yeah, well, I just released this one today. This was my release today. I did. It's only 4 minutes long, and it's just another, what do you call it, image gallery set to some music. And it's just, I'm having a lot of fun with those right now.
Is that the X-Men Legends figures on there?
That's the X-Men Legends. Yeah. It was just released on the Hasbro Pulse live stream a couple days ago, so we put that together. And then I've been putting out my top 10 list every Thursday morning, but we may be moving that to Wednesday now based on some analytics, some mind-blowing discoveries. That we're going to be, so that look for that on Wednesdays now instead of Thursday. So it'll be Wednesday, the top 10 for the next week. And then I don't know, man. I actually went live last Friday, and maybe we'll get back.
Yeah, I jumped on. I remember I jumped on with that one. That was fun.
Yeah. It's been a while. I've been a little rusty, and I was rusty.
Although I have to say, jumping into lives like that, I think I'm pretty good with comic books until I jump into lives with you guys. And I'm like,
you're like,
I don't know shit.
Yeah, I read a lot of comic books, man. I think there's a lot of really good stuff out right now. If you guys aren't reading the comic books, check out the channel, my live stream. I kind of went over my top 7 picks.
Speaking of comic books, let me tell y'all something that I did, because y'all know how rookie I am when it comes to comic books and Funkos and just about anything that has to do with just nerd geek related stuff in general. So I go to the comic book store and I grab number 2 of the Bounty Hunters, right? Number 2, not thinking that the story starts on number 1.
Come on, man.
My brain, all I seen was the comic book.
They just released the trade. They just released the trade for 1 through 5 on Bounty Hunters, as a matter of fact. I just bought it too. I don't know if it's still in the stack.
The big one.
Reading in a trade is so much easier, especially because I'm not worried about destroying the comic basically as I'm trying to not spine tick up my comic book just in case I want to resell it, which is retarded because I don't sell anything. I'm a hoarder.
Wait, I think you're still holding a comic book for me. Come on.
I probably am. Yeah, but they just released a trade paperback of Star Wars 1 through 5, Bounty Hunters 1 through 5, and I think next week Afro 1 through 5 will come out in trade paperback form. So you may want to check that out.
What does that even mean?
They 5 issues and put them together into one.
Oh, now you're talking to me.
Yeah, like trade paper. What does that even mean? JB, I think you just started talking foreign language too.
Yeah, I was great. I thought maybe he was pranking me.
Books and slam them together into one book.
Yeah, they take a story arc and put it in one book and sell it to you that way. So yeah, it comes out cheaper. Yeah.
Bingo.
This
is what it looks like.
Well, that makes more sense than grabbing number 2.
Star Wars Bounty Hunters issue 1 through 5.
Then let me tell you, I'm sitting in my lazy boy, and I said, "Well, I bet I can read it and kind of ad-lib the first one." No, I can't. I thought I'd just make it up. It's not happening. Not happening.
Does the stuff in the first one.
It's not happening. So now I got one that I'm looking at, wishing I knew the whole story. Chris, anything going on next week you want to tell us about?
Well, I know I got a swap box to do. Don't know who sent it to me yet, so we'll always find out. It's a smaller box, so I'm thinking it's somewhat comic books is my assumption. So we shall see. What else? I got my Funko box with my free Christmas Freddy Funko and some other items. And I know I got another one coming up soon. And of course, I got a live with some weird dude on Fridays. And
I'm concerned about
it. Listen, I forgot I got my Marvel Collector Core box. Say what? Sorry, what were you gonna say?
I said I'm concerned about him too. You want me to tell you what's in your Marvel Core mystery box?
No,
this time?
no, I didn't tell me nothing.
I heard about that.
And so PDX asked if anybody was getting the castle. I guess it's dropping at midnight tonight. So if anybody wanted to know about that one, Christina, we appreciate you stopping by.
Question. Is that midnight East Coast?
Eastern.
Chris is going to be the
West Coast.
Okay.
I could tell you right now, it's
From what I understand, it's West Coast.
It's already selling on eBay for over $100.
Well, it goes back to that thing. When you're into the Funko community, everything is bot driven, and we're just convinced that it is. There's somebody selling it on eBay, probably praying that they're going to get their hands on it, and if they don't, they'll just cancel the sale.
Yeah, because it's already sold. Like it's got about 20 sales. Last I looked, already sold like $100.
Right. It's
on eBay.
How?
Exactly.
It's people just hoping that they get it.
Yeah, and the thing with the bots, like you guys said, I don't think it's always the bots.
No,
but
it's not.
Because when it's limited run, like you said, if there's only 5,000 pieces, there's more than 5,000 collectors. So even with the bots, it's gonna sell out almost instantly. But certain things, the bots are getting it. Like when they do the cons, because most of those figures aren't 5,000 limited.
No, yeah.
You're
right. I'm looking at eBay right now, and you've got people buying $170, $100, $120.
Yeah. What I mean, the problem with the cons is they kind of announced well in advance what they're going to get, and so a lot of people don't realize that software costs you about $400 a month to own. They don't just let you download that software for free. They make you go through their servers and use all of their nonsense to have it. So those guys are really paying out the pocket to use it. So if you're not going to pay for it month to month, if there's not something in order for you to pay for it for, right? If they're not coming out with a new set of Jordans, if they're not coming out with a new set of Air Force Ones, if they're not coming out with 100 or so new pops, you're not going to pay that kind of money for it. So it's just not fair to say that it gets them every time. And that's all I say.
It came out last night. It came out last
night.
night.
Night at midnight.
Last night at midnight. Well, that's
best of luck.
It's gone.
That one's gone. That one is gone.
They might bring out some more because they like.
So guys, I really appreciate y'all coming in, hanging out. Everybody's but Fabian's link is going to be down in the description below. Fabian, I will get that added in there by the time this uploads. It normally takes me about a day. Does it take everybody else to upload?
Because it normally takes about like 18 hours.
About 24 hours. Yeah.
So make sure you go check out Fabian's channel. I am going to get that uploaded. It'll take me about an hour. So guys, I really appreciate y'all hanging out, and I hope to see y'all next weekend.
Absolutely.
Have a good one, guys.